Hello. Happy New Year. It is 2025. Oh, that's crazy to say. That's the first time I've said it, actually. 2025, and it is Saturday as we record. Therefore, it is Star Wars Saturdays. This is a bi-monthly or 2-month series that I'm running of a game I've run on Star Wars Saturdays before called Stellar Conflict. However, I'm very excited, very, very excited because this Stellar Conflict game is set in the Tapani Expanse. Tapani Expanse is this box set that came out in 1997-98 from West End Games for the Star Wars D6 uh, system. And it was where West End Games said, hey, let's make our own thing. And it's quite interesting. It's very noble house influence. So I described it to the group as a little bit of Dune, a little bit of Game of Thrones, a lot more Star Wars. It is, the houses are, and therefore this game will generally be from a species wise, mostly humanocentric, meaning a lot of humans, but we do have our cool alien in here. We will have cool other stuff. But at start, this is where we're going. So, uh, Stellar Conflict is a dungeon world hack that Brian Lotz shared with me from way back in the day. It was shared on Google Plus. I have found it nowhere else. I've scraped the files and to try to find more. Greg has printed out a great amount of stuff from Google Plus that and found nothing more. Okay. So I say that to say this was a game that exists in a not completely done state. We have Dungeon World to hew back to look for inspirations. We also have Stone Top, which I consider the closest that exists to a Dungeon World 2.0. Even though it's a very, very different game, it started from there, and I quite like it. So that means we're going to have some custom moves. We're going to be cooking up and hacking up things as we play, as we need them. We've already identified the idea of a house move because we're going to have lots of house politics going on. Now, let us go around the horn. What we're going to do is have everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll circle back around because the character introductions may take a little bit longer. I want us to get to know everybody as peeps before we worry about your characters. So let us start from the right-hand side of the character keeper. And if Greg, you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your new year or uh, Star Wars
Star
interests.
Wars.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Greg. I use he, him pronouns. I will be playing Valara, but just a little bit about myself. I got a Tamagotchi for Christmas and I killed R2D2. So that's fun. Um, oh, sorry, we're gonna do characters. I got deep into the rabbit hole of heritage moves again.
We are not doing characters yet. We're just going
Okay.
through as people, then we'll snake order and go, which means the Mark has to do a double.
It's possible that we're doing Dark Heart of the Dreamer, might be where those come from. I'm looking into it.
Ooh, fun. Now Googling
Google
what that
Plus
means.
was a plethora of creative things, and it's sad that it's dead. There we go.
Oh, planar codex stuff. Okay, I remember that. That's awesome. Next up is my good buddy Steven.
Hi, my name is Steven. My pronouns are he, him. Um, Happy New Year.
Next up is Kay.
Hi, I'm Kay of the She and They variety. I will be playing Lord Ulrich Corbinian of House Barnaba. And yeah, anything I know about Star Wars comes from Rich, so if any of it's wrong, it's his fault.
It is my fault. I accept that. I accept that mantle. Very excited to have you back in the stable, Keith. Introduce yourself, please. Tell us if you got anything to plug.
Sure. Keith, I use the he, him pronouns, gamer, educator, and designer outside of Philadelphia. And all my stuff is at humanhandandbrain.com. I'll say that for you, Rich, just to
Thank
let you
you.
off the hook.
Thank you.
Uh,
I will
and I,
screw it wrong. It'll be like human eye and foot.
and I cannot remember if I have anything on sale anymore or if that has expired, but go and check that out and maybe you can get some PDFs for cheap.
And then Mark, you're up.
Hey, I'm Mark. I go by he and them. And yeah, I have stuff on major.itch.io whenever itch is up. It's been down a lot lately. Yeah, I'm living in winter now in East Lansing and enjoying the new year so far.
I just want to take a moment. Keith, by the way, Human Hand Brain. I found Drive Through was the first place I found some of your stuff. I love your Iron Sworn Badlands. I think that is super, super duper cool. But Mark, I'm always amused by the fact that Mark created an SRD for the Bullwinkle and Rocky RPG. And this is
Here.
That is supposed to be quite an amazing piece
It
of
is
work. So that's
spectacular.
cool.
It's got spinners and hand puppets, and it's the most story game that was made in the 80s. It's
you really should. Have you run that at cons? Like
yeah, I ran it at BGG with Misha and Steven might have been
that's
there.
so
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
I played it.
Sounds fantastic.
yeah. It's great.
It's so
Love to
cool.
get a
Yep.
So
chance
cool.
sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to run it online, but
Good luck. Good luck.
With
I think you'd
spinners and
have to have
hand
like
puppets, that
Tabletop
sounds
Simulator
tough.
or some crap. Although the spinners and stuff you could do really easy on playingcards.io.
yeah. The spinners
Sorry,
what like
sorry, sorry, sorry.
super
Package
challenge.
that and put it over
Yeah,
there. My bad. My fault. My fault.
all good, all good.
Mark,
Um,
please tell us about your character.
Let me tell you about my character. I'm playing Maxon. Maxon is a bounty hunter for House Pelagia. He is the unofficial sword that they use when they don't want to do official stuff.
Nice. I'm now thinking of AC/DC's Dirty Deeds Done
Done
Dirt
dirt
Cheap
cheap. Yes.
because that song is amazing. Thank you so much. So Keith, we circle back around to you. Tell us about this character that some folks who may recognize. I definitely do.
Yeah, I'm bringing back an Infinite Galaxies character from a different Star Wars Sundays named Dad Badu, a Rhodian, and her previous playbook was the Jack, which was an ex-criminal gone on to bigger and better things, question mark. And she was in Zinj's Empire and is now in the Tapani sector, and is the Fringer and is aligned with House Calypso despite being a Rhodian, which makes her sort of a second or maybe a third class citizen in this house system. But her interests aligned with Calypso, and they have taken her on. They think as sort of an adoptee. She thinks as an independent contractor who has more options than she probably actually does. And she's found herself in the company of these lovely, gentle beings.
So excited to watch Dot's bright-eyed optimism, leaving the evils of Tapani, or sorry, the evils of Zinja's empire to Tapani and the lovely house delicacies. It's going to be great. Kay, you're up. Please tell us about your character.
Yeah, so hi. I will be playing Lord Ulrich Corbinian of House Barnaba. He is our noble, and he is the recent betrothed of High Lady Varen Arabella, matched with her by the council.
Wow. That's a lot. Okay. Why?
Why, what?
Why was he matched with the High Lady?
So I imagine it seems like there is some conflict between the council and the High Lady, and so I think this is the council's attempt to install someone next to her that they may have a little more control and or like may have more allegiance to them per se. Whether it shakes out that way, we'll find out.
Okay.
But they were like, we need to control this woman. She's, or at least from the description, it sounds like they're like having a lot of trouble keeping her in line. And they're like, we need to tie this down a little bit more. She's doing a lot. And so I think saddling her with a husband that they believe they can get to persuade her or make her see their point of view better would be a thing. Do you not like that idea?
I'm just trying to think. Why is Ulrich kicking around with these other folks, what feels like it kind of changes some things. Yeah, why is Ulrich hanging around these folks? It was still
Honestly,
with us.
I'm not entirely sure.
I might be able to help with that.
Okay.
Let's wait till my character
All
introduction,
right, let's do
and then
that.
we'll circle back to that.
Yeah, I did pause on a bunch of lowlights because, if we have at least one knight among you, maybe. Cool. Steven, tell us about your character.
Are you done, Kay?
Yeah. You can step there, yeah.
Fantastic. Today I'm playing Rick Sperond, who is the scoundrel playbook. I'm kind of a con artist and that kind of stuff. And one of the items that I chose was something expensive that doesn't technically belong to you. And this is a piece of blackmail material on one of the houses on how they backstabbed one of the other houses that none of them know about. So if you'd like, we can say that Ulrich was put in place. This would be, how about it being blackmail material on House Barnaba, um, where they backstab Calypso, their friend, and they don't want anyone to know about it? Would that make sense why Ulrich would be put in charge of trying to make sure that that word didn't get out? Okay.
That could work. I am rereading the whatchamacallit, the playable, and I think I may have misunderstood the intention. I got excited and I heard Game of Thrones, and I was like, I'm gonna make a main Game of Thrones character, but it looks like that might not have been the assignment.
Um, that's okay. Let's like hold for a sec and see if we can get there. It might be a little higher than I had originally targeted.
Could we take a step back and make
Hmm.
sure we understand the concept of the group to
Yeah,
see how
I think
that all
that's a
fits
good idea.
together? Because I have an understanding, but that might also be wrong. Like I was picturing this is sort of like we're all on a tramp freighter, we're running around doing missions kind of thing. Is that about where we're at, or
That was the initial like idea. Yes.
I think you are correct. I think I misunderstood Rich's messages in DMs and Slack that I can no longer look back to.
I apologize. I
That's not your fault. It's okay. It takes two people to misunderstand something.
and especially when I threw something through ChatGPT and only confused some things worse. So yeah, sorry about that.
Are we just hung up on the lord title? If it's a baron, is that or a knight? Are like how unobtainable are the ranks?
I think it sounds like more like the character concept doesn't not fit
Hmm.
with the rest of the party or the situation. So I may
Yeah,
need to.
that's my main concern is like
Is that what
why
somebody's
is Ulrich here?
promised Ulrich? Like, is that like I'm just throwing it out as an option.
No, I
Like,
appreciate that. I think it's
Ulrich has been promised that that's what's going to happen, and you are under the impression that that's where this is going, and maybe that's all just part of the intrigue,
yeah. I think I
or
from our
or if it,
conversations,
yeah.
I fundamentally misunderstood what this game was supposed to be about, and then I was like, oh, this sounds cool. I'm gonna sign up, and didn't look further on the page because
Uh,
I thought we were playing it like Game of Thrones, so I imagined we would be playing the Cersei Lannisters, the things like that. Not that we were playing their underlings
sure,
from.
sure. And that's on me. I definitely did not set expectations very well
I think
with
that's
that.
just where the confusion with that came. So I
Yeah.
just may need to rethink what I. Yeah, that's why I was like, how do we not have a noble when we're all like the heads of these houses? Um,
Oh,
which
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that's just where the
This rule set will
misunderstanding.
not work well in the bunch of houses sending their forces against each other. This is very it's like classic Star Wars in that you're you know scoundrels running around in a
Yeah, so I may
tramp
need to
freighter.
rethink what I'm doing because I think this character does not make sense for this plot.
Okay, fair. I still think a noble, uh, and also the look and the name, everything other than like the level at which the noble is works.
Yeah.
But then I know there was a lot around the politics of Lady Arabella, and so that one we'll have to recalibrate a little bit.
Yeah, I will take a moment and think and
Okay.
debate two different ideas.
So Stephen with Rix, do you want to like let's spin back up. Rix is a scoundrel with no house allegiance. Anything? Do you think the ship is Rix's?
Um, so what I think is that Rick's um is lucky and can talk his way into things and has some blackmail material against some of the houses. So they've given him a ship to use.
Do we think it is? Which house do you think is it? And we can discuss further, but
Yeah.
did you have initial thoughts? Is it Pelagia? Is it Calypsa? Barnaba?
So my initial thought was that um the blackmail material is against I kind of wanted to point the houses at each other.
Hmm.
So the blackmail material is against Barnaba, how they betrayed one of the other houses. And as long as I can get buy-in from, and I like it to be one of the houses that people are playing. Um, Pelagia has two PCs, so that
Hmm.
would be desirable, is because then it's two against one, or it could be Calypsa because they're supposed to be allied together. Um, but that's something we can talk about and figure out, or we could even figure it out in play.
That's true. Might be best to figure it out and play, just because I don't want to hold us up any further from getting to bonds. Interesting. I like Rick's. Greg, tell us about your character.
Sure. So I'm going to be playing Knight Valera Nova. So knights are royalty. They are people who have done a deed and earned a royal title, but are not in any way entitled to pretty much anything. Um, Valera Nova was very young. Oh, I have entered whiteboard mode. Hold on.
Turn it
Sorry.
off.
I
Stop the
don't know what
whiteboard
that
mode.
was. I think I moved my hands too much and the camera did a thing. So Valar was young when the Empire rose to power, um, and watched the destruction of her world and the destruction of her oceans, and saw her house's power dwindle and fade. And so she is dedicated to returning House Pelagia. Are we going Pelagia? Pelagia. Mark
You and
likes
Mark get to
Pelagia. Okay,
determine that.
excellent.
Do you guys
Um,
want Pelagia, Mark?
Yeah,
Is that
Pelagio. Sounds like a
Pelagia.
yeah.
it's like something in
That's
Vegas, you
Pelagia.
know?
House Pelagia. No, House Pelagia. Return it to its former glory. Um, and the death of the Empire has only emboldened her even more. Uh, yeah, she's gonna be invoking a lot of oathy stuff. Because
Hot.
I am playing the Soldier Playbook, which is pretty much the Dungeon World Paladin. Um, and yeah,
The question, Greg, do you imagine Valar was born into nobility or
no, Valara
okay,
was
so
not.
okay.
Through her deeds in her actions at against the Empire, and now that that's like she was a rebel. Now she's sort of fought in the resistance against the Empire on Pelagia. Now that it's like cool that she did that because that's how rebellions work. Now she's been knighted, and yeah, she's been like she's convinced that there is upward mobility for herself, and there probably is not. But she's
Wicked.
part of that is you get a cool light foil, and it's got like the Jedi seal on it. It's ancient. It's cool. And part of that upward mobility is that she's a saber rake. Is that what we? Yes, which means she's down to duel and fight for honor for House Pelagia at the drop of a hat. Um, will not shy from danger.
Very excited. I love the tags you've added to your life foil, by the way. Precise, messy, ornate. Which will all be beneficial except when you're in a duel, where you don't even use stats. So good. All right. So now we have introduced most of the characters. I'm trying to give you a little bit of time, Kay, to recalibrate, but
Yeah,
if
yeah,
okay.
I have two different ideas. One of them is just like a completely different character. The other one, I'm mildly concerned it might be a little too similar to Darren, but uh
Okay.
maybe the one I guess still keeping with this character and this noble would be uh would be that I am the younger sibling. And so I have been sent away to try to
Ooh,
again like undercut her power and authority and things like that. Because that was with the original two. I was like, am I betrothed or am I younger sibling? And I was like, I did younger sibling last time, I'll do betrothed this time, but then shenanigery. So am I the younger sibling and I've either been sent off to undercut her or has she sent me off because I am a risk to her position or
that's
you know,
interesting.
I
I think
like
things
that's
like
that.
that.
grabby. Yeah. Nice pivot. Yeah, maybe it hasn't been fully explained to Lord Ulrich Corbinian why he was sent off with these scalawags, but
Yeah, he has no idea. Yeah, he doesn't know. And that is got him thinking, and he'd have asked a little more, but sometimes the smart thing to do is to not ask questions and just observe.
mhm. That's good. Good, good.
Okay, we like that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like
Either
that a
that or I was
lot.
just gonna bring out my I was gonna be like, I'm switching to mercenary, let's fucking go. But
So let's talk about bonds. Bonds are a vestigial thing from Dungeon World that I think are pretty cool for establishing initial relationships. Bonds also are part of the XP, but I don't want them to be fixed things. I'm very interested in bonds that evolve and change over time, and can be dropped, rewritten, all that stuff. Uh, Mark, I'm going to start with you. Let's offer, you've got a couple of ideas around bonds, so
Yeah.
kick them out. Which of the two that are most grabby you're most interested in suggesting to folks? Again, this is a two-way street, right?
Yep. I think Valarnova definitely has my back when things go wrong. Um, whether Valara thinks that or not, it's up to them.
No,
um,
you're House Pelagia. I've
yeah,
got your back.
I'm relying on your honor to pull through that. I think Rick's reminds me of an old target. Whether or not they are the actual target or not, we'll see.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. Keith, you've got a few ideas. Why don't you suggest a couple that are very grabby to you?
So my first one that I want to do is actually the opposite of what it says. So let me know how you feel about that. For Rick's, it says has no idea how to make it out on the fringe. I'll have to teach them, but I feel like I want to flop that around after hearing what Steven said and knows exactly how to make it here, and I want to learn from them.
That
Ooh.
sounds
Uh,
perfect. I want to point something out. One of the ways that I get around, Rix gets around is he has a lucky stat and can spend a lucky point in order to reroll dice. So that's going to be difficult to learn, and I'm excited to see you try.
I think that
Yeah.
like the whole blackmail on the houses and like you're doing what I think I'm doing.
Okay.
With like you've got a finger in every pie, and I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm headed too. I'll just do what Rick's does.
Yep. That sounds perfect.
Um, and I think the other one that I'm particularly interested in is with Valera. I've heard of these saber rakes. This is the first one I've ever actually met. They're a big deal. They're celebrated. There's like lots of soap operas where the main characters are saber rakes and stuff. And like, wow, here's one in real life. What's your deal? do you want to duel? Do you want to duel that person? Go duel that person. I want to see that happen.
I love it.
Uh, Sweet. Good stuff. You're gonna rewrite that in Keith,
Yeah.
the Rick's one? Cool. Kay, do you have a couple of bonds you're interested
Yeah,
in
I
offering
think I
up?
have some of them ideas. There's a couple that I'm bouncing between.
Okay.
But right now I think I'm thinking Dodd served under my father at a certain time if we're okay with that. Uh Maybe because the houses were close, and I was either cruel or kind. We can work that out depending on what kind of relationship you want. Keith, uh, then I was thinking this is not my first escapade with Maxon. And then I was and then I'm between, do I want Rix or Valara for each of these roles? Someone is an uncultured savage, but I will teach them the finer things. And someone else amazes me with their skill and talents. I hope to learn from them.
Greg, that uncultured savage, that seems interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm okay with being seen that way.
This person uses the wrong fork, maybe like doesn't walk quite right. It's trying because you're that rough and tumble brand
That's
new
not how you
noble.
hold a light foil.
Oh,
I have slain 4 in battle.
That's cool. Are you interested in that, Greg?
Does
Yes,
that sound good,
yes.
Greg?
Okay.
Okay, and then I could do, trying to think. I could maybe like how do we feel about like what I'm trying to think what skill and talent does Rix has that amazes me is the one thing.
Um, my ability to talk my way out of trouble.
Good, I feel like that's something I should already know how to do. Or I guess that yeah.
Well, you are with us, so maybe you need to learn it a little bit better.
That's valid. Or maybe ooh, actually this could be fun. What if this is not my first escapade with Rix, but Maxon is who amazes me and that could be fun because you don't
Hmm.
trust me? Oh, but the other one says they don't trust me either.
Wait, it does? Where?
Those are
On Max,
thoughts I
sorry, Max,
didn't say.
on Max on. I
Oh,
don't trust Mike. They don't trust me either.
Yeah.
we could tweak that if
Yeah.
you'd
If yeah, if we
rather.
could tweak that, I think that's fun because I think um I've never seen brutality before like this, like physical prowess. And so I find it interesting. I find it's like that weird, like semi-repulsive, semi like interesting kind of thing.
Hmm.
Do we like that or
Yeah,
yeah, and then
that looks good.
I've had some escapades with Ricks before. And then are you down with Dodd having done some work with my father?
so that would be under your house then, right?
House Bernaba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been
Um,
because House Calypso and House Barnaba are like a
they're allies,
allied
right?
house. It could have been
Okay.
like a joint thing they did.
Yeah, that works. And
And would you rather that I was cruel or kind to you?
I think I think cruel, but like not vicious, but just like, you're an employee, you're a servant,
You're also
you're a
not human.
functionary. Oh yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, if you're
Although,
okay with that.
yeah, and then when you say that, I'm like, there's also the were you entranced by that rather than repulsed? Like, oh, I've never met anyone like that. But of course, that could also then lead to the cruelty because you're not supposed to like the
So
non-humans.
I was both cruel and kind.
So, or
Huh?
like you were cruel because you wanted to be kind, and
I,
like, I don't know what was
I
in your
think
heart, but you treated me like a jerk.
what about I was kind and then it was discovered and I had to be cruel.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Tut tut
So
tut. Stop being nice for the
originally,
help.
yeah, it's almost like a Fox and the Hound kind of like vibes. Like originally we were friends, but yeah, you can't do that. You're not allowed to. That's she may be a Calypso, but she's not really a Calypso. Like that's just a like
Yeah.
you can't respect that. Like that sort of innocence of semi-youth where I didn't know there was a class system and you were just cool and blue. And then it was pointed out to me and I was told I had to behave a certain way.
Oh, I really like the duality of that. I think that's interesting. It's
Okay.
something we can
All
play
right,
with.
cool.
That's a bond that we can shift and change over time. I like
And
that a
then,
lot.
do you have any thoughts about what escapade we might have had between Rix and Ulrich?
Um, let's see.
I
So
kind of go
go
for
ahead.
it. No, you go first. I asked you.
Okay, what I was going to say was, I think one of the bonds I'm going to select is that I acquired something from Ulrich, and I'm going to change that to with Ulrich. And I think you and I have been sent on a mission before
Ooh.
with this ship, in order to find something, a MacGuffin, and
How
return
about
it
a
back
delivery?
to.
How about a delivery?
Oh, that's better. What
Yeah.
if the delivery's a person?
Mm.
So we were basically
What
You
is
had to
that?
ferry someone out to the free worlds outside of Tapani sector. And I like the idea of that. Maybe you got to know them. Maybe we will talk a little bit about that person in flashback form. Are you okay? Sorry, I got excited.
No, I think that's fine. I was also thinking of some something akin to the Hangover bullshit. Uh,
they got lost.
but yeah, where there was just so much decadence and partying that we had an escapade of some where we maybe that there we're supposed to bring someone out, and we did get them out, but also like escapade, house of lavishness and excess and shenanigans, and a scoundrel seemed like a lot of crazy shit could
So
have happened there.
some misadventures in
Some misadventures.
getting someone out of Tapani. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You like that? Good.
Okay.
Let's jump over to Briggs. What bonds are interesting to you, Stephen?
Well, I just mentioned delivered a royal with someone that would be Ulrich. Another one I'm going to put down, I like if Mark is okay with it, is that Maxon has my back when things go wrong. Um, I think you're the one I hide behind
Mhm.
whenever the firefight starts. So, and I'm gonna mention one more, which is I think Dad Badu is a good accomplice.
Mm.
Aw, what a nice compliment.
Maybe.
I've always wanted to be an accomplice.
Cool.
Accomplice, stool pigeon, whichever. Yes.
I just realized that Dodd shares a surname with Akil Baду, recently designated for assignment, former Tiger. That's amazing. Detroit Tiger, baseball. Sorry. Uh, just caught when you said it out loud. I'm like, hey, like Akil Badu, who used to be a twin.
Can't
Greg.
make it
Sorry.
3 hours, Rich. Okay, no.
I was so close, friend. So close.
Okay. So real quick, did any of you work with the Empire at some point? Because I'm thinking that might be what you were hinting at, Stephen, with Rix. That it's best if I don't know your history.
My history is shifty,
Fair enough. Okay.
so um, the paladin might not agree with some of the things I've done.
Some of the moral gray areas you've indulged in.
Exactly, and
Um,
I, I, I very well could have taken jobs for the Empire, but nothing. I think most of my jobs, personally, um, Rix is very anti-noble house and anti-establishment. So I
mhm.
think most of his stuff would have been with the royal houses, and maybe he's trying to bring them down a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah, perfect. I promised I'd protect you. Um, because that's going to be interesting when things shake out. Um, I'm trying to think who I promised is probably the house. Um, I promised I'd protect you from as House Pelagia. Um, it's probably part of some deal you made. Um,
Um, what if the delivery that Ulrich and I made was someone from House Pelagia?
Mm.
I like it.
Yeah.
We can pick an NPC.
we can just figure that out
Yeah,
during play.
we can figure that out. And then I'm just gonna go with Maxon owes me their life, whether they like to admit it or not. Um, I think there was some tangle I got you out of, possibly even during the Galactic Civil War.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I like that.
Um,
That's really cool.
should I keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, I think this was obvious. I worry about the ability of Ulrich to survive in battle. Um, he's a soft little boy. Um, and that's great because that sets up some nice conflict there. Um, uh, and that leaves, I believe that Dad Badu may have my back.
Why would I need to have your back? You're such a skilled saber rake. Can't imagine you would need any help.
What did Dad Badu do in Zinja's Empire?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. You
Did you
know,
do anything for Zinj?
not
Okay.
knowingly, but there was a time when she was in a criminal empire and wasn't always aware of the higher up machinations of why things were happening. So it's possible. Um, the,
Does
the
does House Calypso do I view House Calypso as an ally? Am I just assuming you have my back because of our house loyalties? That would be fun.
I don't know if they're
Hold on, I'm
allies. I
checking.
think um I want to say Banarba and
Barnaba?
yeah, okay. I believe it's oh, but we could just hover
Yeah.
over, right? That's why I did that thing. Um no.
Pelagia is allied with Cadrian. Calypsa actually is the one that bought up a lot of their world. So I think there's a
Ah,
pretty
Oh,
weird relationship there because a bunch of Pelagians are now considered Cadriani.
but it seems like they don't have a Calypsa
Or sorry, no,
or yes,
Calypsan,
Calypsa.
not Cadriani. Sorry,
Okay.
Pelagia, a bunch of Pelagia worlds were bought by Calypsa. Double checking because now I'm starting to question myself after the problems.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, Calypsa has a bunch of new worlds. They are Pelagian.
okay.
But I mean, I could
Yeah,
regardless of
yeah.
the house, unless you want to
You,
make it the house stuff,
yes.
like I definitely kind of feel like I guess a fangirl of Valera, so you could assume, yeah, if I ever need it, this one's got me.
Yeah, right. Dad at least thinks I'm cool enough. She's got my back.
Cool.
I like it.
I'd ask for two and two and two. So does that get all of yours for Greg?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll just jump back to Mark because I asked for only two from Mark and Keith. So let's finish those
Yeah.
up. Make sure everybody's good with those.
Yeah, so my other two are Ulrich I don't trust, and Dodd Badu owes me a lot.
Ooh. Uh,
Interesting.
I think that could work with I put also Maxon will have my back when things go wrong, which is the second one who put we know who we turn to when the excrement hits the air filters. It's Maxon.
Mhm.
So I think that could also be the reason I think Maxon has my back is because he did, and that's why I owe you big time.
Yeah.
Nice. Does that clear up all our bonds then? I think it does.
I've dealt with people like Ulrich Corbinian before, and I've usually regretted it. In fact, I've dealt with Ulrich Corbinian before and did regret it. So it isn't just people like that. And yeah, and Maxon having my back.
Rex
Okay.
is the only one with like a positive bond with Ulrich. The rest of us are a little unsettled by his presence. I like that.
Although
Gonna be
I
fun.
feel like, as we were talking about, it would be easy, well, maybe not easy, but certainly possible for Ulrich to steer back into a positive bond with me,
Yeah.
Wouldn't
depending.
take much for Ulrich to prove. Yeah.
Okay, we are near the end of time. We didn't play, so I'm not going to worry about stars and wishes, but I have all that I need to be ready for us to jump straight into it next week. Uh, I think we'll just bring things to a close unless, all right, bring things to a close. Thank you all so much for this wonderful creation session. I'm
Looking forward to
excited
it.
for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.